What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Nini Show. I pray everyone is listening. We must do three things: inspire, uplift, and empower each other. What you don't know can ultimately hurt you. Let's change the way we think, change the way we eat. Because at the end of the day, I want us all to win and live in purpose. Let's go. Welcome back.
Hey, let's go. Welcome back. Welcome to the Nini Show. I'm your host, Nini Adams. It's a pleasure and such an honor to be here every Monday to give back to the community, to talk to you guys, to have special guests come on like Krystal Spears, who's going to be coming and joining us a little bit later. So I'm so excited to have her on. A lot to talk to about her and her energy and her love. She's actually my realtor. She actually helped me sell my home, which is another story in itself. But she's helping me also to invest and to get into other properties. So I'm excited to bring her on, and I'm excited for her to kind of give you the knowledge that she knows and to all of us. So it's going to be a good show. Make sure you guys stay tuned in and locked in. And if you know anybody who needs this information, make sure you go ahead and share it with them. Also, y'all see what I'm rocking. Underground Rail. Nini Show will be turning into the Underground Rail here shortly. By the end of the month, we're going to be switching into another podcast. We're going to be having some phenomenal people on. We're going to be helping the community even more. We're going to have, battle of the sexes, a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to be bringing y'all the energy and the love. But you know how we get down on the Nini Show. Let's go ahead and break out in prayer, get the energy right. And then we'll go ahead and start the show. So y'all pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you right now, and we just thank you for another day, for another opportunity to live in will. God, we just ask for your spirit to move in all of our weaknesses. God, anything that we're struggling with, that we're battling with, that is constantly on our hearts and our minds, that we pray that you will intercede on our behalf. The places that we feel weak and we just feel like we can't fight no more, God, I pray that you will intercede and you will take over, and we will allow you to take over and trust you in that process, God. So I just thank you right now for who you are, the God that is in us. I pray that that would increase. And I just pray over Krystal right now and her family, and that she just comes with all that knowledge and wisdom that she already has, and that can bless other people so this blessing can keep going. And I pray and ask for all of this in your precious name. Amen. Amen. So guys, as it's a lot going on, as I can see behind me, let me scoot out a little bit. Boom, shout out and happy birthday to all of my Aquarius people. I'm hyped because my birthday is actually in 2 days. I'm putting 4 fingers up. 2 days, right? So February 10th, it's not only just my birthday, but it's also my best guy friend, Devon Walker. He's out there. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday to you. He was actually on the show last week. So I was actually surprised the other day for my birthday. Shout out to Camille. Thank you so much for that surprise, and everyone that was involved. It really meant a lot to me. I think that was like the second time I've been surprised for a birthday party. So shout out to everybody who planned all of that. Y'all don't understand how special that is, when you do something for someone. Definitely. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But what I want to read to you guys is some Black history facts. And we're going to go from here. So Black history facts. And we're going to talk about Robert Weaver. Robert Weaver, he held several positions in various agencies of the U.S. government, starting as the first African advisor on racial problems in the Department of Interior. After World War II, he served for time in Chicago as the executive director of the Mayor's Committee on Race Relations, taught briefings at several universities, and he also wrote The Negro Labor and National Problems in the Negro Ghetto. From 1949 to 1955, he directed the fellowship program of the John Hay Whitney Foundation, after which he became rent commissioner in New York State. He was active in the civil rights movement, and he served for a year as the national chairman of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. In 1960, President Kennedy appointed Weaver to the head of the Federal Housing and Home Finance Agency. In 1966, President Johnson named him head of the new Department of Housing and Urban Development, which made him the first Black American secretary of that department. So kudos and head up to Mr. Weaver there. Everyone, if you have a dream, you can make history. All you have to do is believe in it. Love Day is coming up, and I'm so excited about it. It doesn't matter if you are with a significant other. Doesn't matter. Find someone special that you care about. And the reason that I say this is because back in 2012, I wasn't in a relationship at all. But me and my sister, we lived together in a townhouse out here in Maryland. And my nephew came home one day and he just gave me some flowers and let me add them on here. Some flowers and some chocolates. And he was like, "Happy Valentine's Day, Auntie." And we went out on a date and we literally went bowling. We went to the arcades. So it doesn't matter if it's not someone that you're in a relationship with. Find someone that truly means a lot to you that you can share the time with. I'm about to add him on here. That's my little man. That's my little man, Jamal. Oh, he's so cute. Look at him. This is when he was like 3 or 4. And he came home and he was like, "Hey, Auntie, happy Valentine's Day." This is us back in 2012. So just know that if you don't have anyone special, that's not the big point. The point is share it with someone that you care about, share it with someone you love. So I pray that everyone has a wonderful Valentine's Day coming from me, from the Nene Show. All right, so let's go ahead and read Miss Krystal's bio because it's not long. I'm glad she didn't send the long version, but she could have if she wanted to. She really could have. She's laughing. But no, I'm going to read it real quick, and we're going to go jump right into the real estate. So, guys, make sure you like and share. Have a watch party. Send this out to people who really need to hear this about first-time buyer because actually buying season is coming up. It's approaching really fast. All right, so Krystal herself, she's a real estate agent. She's an entrepreneur and an educator. She started out by renting out her own personal properties. Now she helps clients buy, sell, rent, and invest. She also does commercial real estate. She started out as an investor years ago, has been licensed in North Carolina, and almost 4 years ago decided to return serving in clients in the DMV. She loves to help others, and as a natural teacher, she wants to make sure her clients learn throughout the process and make the decision that is best for them. Let's go ahead and welcome Krystal onto the show. Hey, Krystal.
Hey, I need to insert some little sound effects. I was like, sound effects.
I need to do it all because look, I'm over here got the phone, I got the speaker. Look, this ain't easy.
Trust me, I know. You should have seen me like before the show started. I was in my garage getting extension cords. I got two tripods here. I'm up here trying to fix the lighting. It's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's all worth it at the end of the day.
Yes,
at the end of the
yes.
day,
I'm just waiting for one of these phones to pop out of the tripods.
I'm hoping that this ring light don't fall down. That's what I'm hoping.
So I'm on your Facebook page, and you're not on Facebook Live yet, are you?
I should be. It says it's checked off. I'm on Facebook Live and YouTube.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
I just needed to scroll down a little bit. Okay.
So I'm there. You can go ahead and set up your
Okay, so I'm trying to start it's not, let me see. I gotta tap share.
Yep.
The watch party option is not popping up for me. Save video, add needing to favorites, support, turn on live, unfollow, turn on notifications. Okay. Well, it's not giving me that option. I don't know why.
Don't worry, I'll make sure we share this. Hey, big sis. Guys, make sure y'all are good out there. If you're out there in the DMV, it's cold out there. Bundle up. Bundle up. You still looking, Krystal?
I'm looking. Do you have it set up a certain way? Because I think it's weird.
Not on my end, not that I'm tracking.
Yeah. Okay.
But make sure, guys, while we're sitting here, follow Underground Rail. See the shirt, Underground Rail on Instagram. Follow it on Instagram. We're actually going to be having our first show on February 22nd at 7:30. It'll be myself, Katina Day, Devon Walker, and Jeffrey Jackson. Underground Rail on Instagram. Oh, I see the echo behind.
I'm going to turn it off. Everybody bear with me. I'm trying to figure out why it's not giving me this watch party option. And I switched phones just to make sure that it would work. That's why you got a new a new check-in from me, a new request to join.
New request.
All right. I'm just saying, you save video. Oh, well, I guess I'll save it at the end and post it.
It's okay. And then like just have one of somebody that you know that's on Facebook. Maybe they can throw it on your page. Give them their account information.
Yeah, I can pop the link in the YouTube link too. Which I just saw.
But make sure y'all stay tuned. We got some exciting info to give y'all away.
All right. Well, I apologize, y'all. I'm trying to figure out these technical difficulties because I posted on my page that I was going to be on here, and I don't know what the deal is.
It's okay. We'll get them right. We'll get them right.
Let's jump into this job interview.
The job. We're gonna have a flowing conversation. We're gonna have a lot of energy, a lot of laugh. Y'all can see already. We already gonna be laughing and joking. So, if y'all have any questions, anything y'all want to ask, make sure y'all go ahead and drop them into the comments below.
Yes, please drop them into the comments.
Definitely. So we all know, Krystal, buying a home is considered a key aspect of American dream. You know I was raised in a household, and a lot of the people that I know around me, friends and family, they were raised to finish school first, go ahead and travel, get married, and then buy a home, right? Like, that's usually like the sequence of how things happen. The thought of that alone sometimes when buying a home is considered scary, taking a risk on a loan that's so big. People have that mindset. And then there's other people who are like, I want to look at it as an asset, real estate, property. So their mindset is a little bit different. You have been in this game for a long time, and you have worked with a lot of people. Before you recommend someone to purchase a home, what are some things you think that they should consider when it comes to like long-term goals and how buying that fits into the equation?
Something you said that stood out to me just now was the American dream.
Yeah.
And people, it sounds so hoopla, right? People come from all these different countries. They move here. And a lot of people, when they come from outside, they take advantage of the American system that is set up, which enables us to do so many different things, one of which is buying a property. However, there's a lot of people who have been here for years and years, generations and generations. Their grandparents and great-grandparents never had a home. So we kind of have this tendency to look at it as something that's overwhelming. Matter of fact, let me tell you what just happened. I just came from Walmart, and the cashier that was helping with me, we was just so kind. You know how you just interact with somebody, you just feel a good presence, a good energy. And we were trying to scan this box, and it was too big. We couldn't find the barcode. And I had one business card in my pocket. I had put it in my pocket for somebody else. And something just said to me, like, give this lady your card. And she had this beautiful West African accent. And I gave it to her, and she said, I have been living in an apartment renting for 10 years. 10 years. And she started talking about her children. And when you think about the fact that many people will have children, they'll have grandchildren. And people who live that American dream and who have been for years are able to pass on something and leave on a legacy to their children. Yeah. And some people start out with that head start. I didn't start out with parents who owned real estate, but now my parents do. So my parents have real estate, we have real estate, and then we'll be passing that on to our children. So it's about building something that you can pass on and that can be further passed on. Because the contrary is, every single month, this lady that I met in Walmart and a lot of people out there are renting. Yeah. And when you rent, you're paying you're putting money in your landlord's pocket. You don't understand. People don't understand that concept. But if we live here in this house and we were renting it, we be paying above what the landlord is asking. And every single month, that landlord takes the profit, and then they take your money, pay their debt down, and in the end, their wealth starts to grow and grow and grow. So once you become the purchaser, you put yourself in the position to earn that money instead of giving your money and your potential wealth to somebody else. That's so right. But I think your question was, what should you do? How do you know when it's time for you to purchase a house? First of all, there's already some determining factors out there that are going to tell you yes or no, which we'll get into on some of your other questions, right? So if you have the established credit, if you have money saved, a certain amount of money, which there are programs that can alleviate some of that. But if you have started to become financially responsible, it kind of, and you have an interest in purchasing a home, it's like your brain has started to shift and you start to develop a maturity where you realize, why am I renting? Even if you're a person who's going to be migrating a lot, moving around, you can still have a property and earn money off of that property. But then the other part is, of course, owning a home comes with other responsibilities. If you rent from someone, you don't have to pay for repairs unless you live with a shaky landlord. So you have to, and there are additional costs that you're going to incur with buying a home. But typically, I would say there's an offset depending on your price range. Because if you compare somebody renting, let's say she told me she was paying $1,600 a month, right? But her landlord is fixing all the repairs. Now, if she owned that, she's going to have to pay for the repairs. So that, therefore, she might pay a little more. But in the end, her landlord is taking her money and making money, and she's not. She's gonna move. If she had purchased that and owned it for 10 years, she could probably walk away. I did a whole video on this on YouTube and on my Instagram. So she could probably walk away with over $100,000. Wow. But because she's renting, she walks away with nothing. Nothing. Her landlord walks away with that money. So you're ready when you have decided to be financially responsible. My mentality, and I know yours is, if it's something that's on your credit, like you pay it. It's like it's just that simple.
It's that simple. Mm-hmm.
You can't get your hair done. You gotta pay your bill. You gotta sacrifice. You can't go out.
Sacrifice them nails, them toes, whatever it is.
Yep. You just got it. And in the end, it will be worth it.
Yeah.
You can do your own hair. You can go to YouTube and do your own hair.
Or you can have a sister who does it. Shout out to my sister. She is my hairstylist. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. I get a good discount rate.
I was peeping your braids when I first got on here.
Yes, she does my hair. I shout her out. But you gave some valid and key points. Obviously, your mind has to be there. Even if you are moving around, if you have that, I guess, landlord mentality of wanting to have people in your home. That way, if you do move, you can have people living there where you can still profit off of it. I've heard people have agents over their homes as far as like collecting funds for them. As far as
you can hire a property manager to take care of the headache for you.
It's definitely a lot of options that you can do, but I like that one. Some of the key things that you brought up as far as finances and savings and spending habits and credit history, right? What would you have people audit about themselves when it comes down to that? Like you said, like you have to have good spending habits to be ready to buy a home. When it incorporates all of those four things, what do you think they should be assessing about themselves before buying a home?
If we're talking about essentially making a spending plan, I read this a long time ago. I can't remember the source, but it said, don't live under a budget, live under a spending plan. And for me, it was life-changing because if you live on a budget, feels like it's tight and it's restricting you. It's like you live within these means. Spending plan is, okay, where am I going to put my money? It's just really a play on words, but it's still a shift in the mindset. Yeah. And so your question is, what type of mindset? Because you asked a lot of questions just there. I told you sent me these job interview questions.
What kind of factors should they consider? Like as far as their finances, that's a big factor to consider, right? Their spending habits. A lot of people out here don't understand how to, like you said, budget their money correctly or know when to use certain funds for certain things. What's more important? What's more valuable? Understanding your credit is important. Right. So those factors, they should consider that before buying a home.
Okay. So the way you frame the question, I can answer it in different ways. So there's a lot of things. People come to me. I've had people call me and they'll say, I want to buy a house. So in that initial conversation, I'm very direct. Your business is confidential. I need to know your business to find out, are you going to qualify? So I've plenty of times I've had conversations with people And they're under the impression that if they just decide I want to buy a house, that's it. But when it comes down to it, the bank is loaning you in the DMV, we're talking $300,000 to $800,000. So if somebody came to you right now and you had $10 million and they were like, I need to borrow like 700,000. You're not just going to hand this money over to that person, because that's a considerable amount of money. And I only use the million. Okay. You want to make sure the bank wants to make sure that you are likely to pay them back. So they're going to evaluate your spending habits. And how do they do that in America? Credit score. Mm-hmm. So if the bank looks at your credit score and they see, or your credit report, I'm going to throw the score off the table. Your credit report is based on one thing. Do you pay your bills on time?
Right.
I mean, there's other factors, but that one is, I believe 35% of your credit score is, do you pay your bills on time? That's it. Do you pay? And the mortgage lender, the bank, wants to know, if I loan this person this money, are they likely to pay me back? So if you're considering a home purchase and you haven't been paying on time, it's time to start paying your bills on time. Another factor is your income. Some people are really surprised to find out they have to have, I've actually had people call me and say, I'm not working, I want to buy a house and I want a home loan. How are you going to convince the bank to give you a loan? So, and I mean, honestly, I don't mean to laugh at it, because if you haven't been educated on it, then, I mean, I ask ridiculous questions, or questions that other people might find ridiculous that I don't find ridiculous, just because I don't know the answer. So I shouldn't say it that way. But anyway, so credit score is a factor, or are you paying your bills? Do you have a steady job? If you're self-employed, you need 2 years of proof of self-employment, and your tax returns will be evaluated. Now, people will ask, what credit score do you need? It ranges. There is no really set answer. However, 650 is the one that I say is pretty solid. Yeah. But if you have a 650 credit score and your debt, if you owe, your debt to income ratio is super high. I explained that on one of my videos. But if your debt to income ratio is really high, meaning the amount of money that you bring home every month is less than like 43% is the ratio for FHA loan, then what you make, your debt is too high. So the bank is going to say, we can't loan you this money. So on the contrary, there have been people who have purchased a home whose credit scores are less than 600, but they have to have like months of reserves. It could be you have to have 6 months of mortgage in the bank, because you have not demonstrated that you're paying your bills on time. And I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, because I'm going into details about what your finances should be. I feel like your question is more about financial responsibility.
Yeah. And then you hit on the spot, especially talking about the debt to income ratio, as far as like understanding that formula, right? So it's key to knowing that, hey, I got to make sure that I can, pay off certain debts in order to have a better balance, so it looks good when I go to the bank and I request for this loan, that I'm able to get the amount that I want for the house that I want, right? Or the house that I need. So that you hit it right on the nail when it comes to that. And I'm glad that you did bring up the debt to income ratio, because I was going to have you talk about that one and explain that, because some people don't know. So this is just more informative and gets people to talk. So as we're talking about debt to income ratio, this is all the post questions that they should ask themselves and to their agent before they get a home. But there's a variety of home options out there. Finding out the home style for you is a very important part. You know that my first home was a condo. There was a lot of things that I considered. My family size, it was just me. I considered the cost of living and also investment opportunities, right? That was my thought process. Everybody else is different. What are some of the pros and cons that you consider with like the homes that are out there? Obviously, you got your rent homes, you got your single family homes, you got all that, right? How can a decision like this help them achieve their goals?
The goals of the type of home they purchase?
pretty much like what they need in their goals when they talk about their long-term goals of like, yeah, I want to be here and I want to have something like this. When it comes down to like cost of living and family size, how can that house be something that they can achieve their goals in the long run?
Okay.
You still playing with that watch party?
No. I went into my phone to look at your text with all these interview questions.
I thought I'd give you a heads up.
So like, let me read what she's saying in this question right here. I feel like I left a little hole in the previous question.
Good.
So it's kind of like it's bothering me because when you get to the point where you want to purchase a house, there's other financial factors that I wanted to talk about. So the savings part, like how much money do you need to have to put down on a home? Because a lot of people don't know that. And I don't know if that's, so I'm like, is that one of the questions? Because I want to make sure I give that information. Because that's really important. So people who want to buy a house, they think, okay, I want to buy a house. So I'm just going to go to the bank or credit union or a lender and get a loan. And then once you do that, okay, what's next? So how much money do I need to purchase a house? Because that's really critical information for you to know as a buyer. So if you don't have the credit scores, guys, start working on paying your bills on time. And don't just do that to buy a house. It's really about becoming responsible and developing that discipline, because it's a healthy habit for you. Because not paying bills on time is very, very frustrating. I have been in that situation plenty of times in my adult life, and it's extremely frustrating to not have money. And so one thing that I want to advise you all is don't be afraid to grind. Don't be afraid to hustle. Like if you're low on cash, there are too many opportunities available to this generation, my generation, and even older to earn money. You have got to put yourself out there. Donita, you got your business that you're doing. Okay, I'm hustling with the real estate. I shop for Shipped. If I don't have a real estate contract and I'm like, I need some money, I'm going to go out there and shop for Shipped. And it's not the same amount of money as real estate is bringing me, but every amount of money that you bring goes into the pot and it's helping you to grow. So you can't keep spinning your wheels saying, I don't have enough money. I'm not making enough money. One, put your money in the right place. If you're not making enough money, look at how you're spending it. Where are you wasting your money? There's probably something that you're buying that you don't need to be buying. So that's one. Two, I have gone through my budget or spending plan line by line by line to figure out when money is tight, what is on here that I can eliminate. And I will call creditors, whoever is on my bill, car insurance, whoever, like, what can I eliminate? What can I decrease? There's some money available to you. You just have to figure out how to work your money. And then once you do that, set up a savings, make it automatic and put it somewhere where you are not going to touch the money. There have been previous years where I would open up a bank account an hour or hour and a half away. I had a bank account. When I moved back to Maryland, I visited North Carolina and opened a bank account in North Carolina and would write checks and send it there just so I wouldn't touch it, because I knew my discipline level. So you have to recognize who you are and you have to go after what it is that you want. And if your discipline, somebody else's discipline is, I put the money in the bank, I don't touch it. That wasn't my discipline. If I had access to it, I was going to go get the money. So that was my level of discipline at the time. Now I can put money in savings and I'm not going to touch it. But I also am bringing in enough money where I can pay my bills, I can save, I can spend and pay off debt. I wasn't doing all that.
Right.
So you guys have to start. Those 4 things are the things you need to be able to do. And don't be open up yourself to receive money. That's another thing. You have to open up yourself. Look for opportunities for money to come to you, because then you'll be able to put that in the right place. And like Donita mentioned earlier, buying assets instead of spending your money on things that aren't going to put any money in your pocket. spend your money on something that's going to make you money instead of something that's just going to be gone like that.
Okay.
So let me just real quickly go over the money you'll need to purchase a house. Okay. So you'll need a down payment. A down payment on an FHA loan, which is most common, is 3.5% of the price of that house. So that's $3,500 for every 100,000. Okay, so it's going to be $3,500 for a $100,000 house, $7,000 for a $200,000 house, $10,500 for a $300,000 house. What's next? $14,000 for a $400,000 house, if I'm doing the math right, and $17,500 for $500,000. And we can keep going. Okay,
keep going. Mm-hmm.
That's your down payment. There are down payment assistance programs available that will help you offset that cost. They might pay half, they might pay all, and so that's one fee. That's a big fee. It's 3.5%. Okay, of whatever the price is. The second fee is called closing costs. Closing costs cannot be calculated. You can't calculate them. They are just a total amount of fees that you pay on the day that you buy that house.
Right.
And I can tell you a range around the DMV for these price houses around from 200 to 400,000. You're looking at about $8,000 up to 12.
Up to 12.
I haven't really seen 12, but I've seen mine have been around 8 to 11,000 for closing costs.
Right.
It depends on what the market is. I haven't talked about this, but the market is either a seller's market or a buyer's market. If it's a buyer's market, I always negotiate the seller to pay some of the closing for my buyers. Right now, I do work that into the deals, but you got to work with me to find out how I do it.
Find out how it is. And we'll definitely do that. So the last question in the post part, right? So before they even get into anything else for buying a house, they got to find a real estate agent, right? You got to find an agent. So with me, I know before working with you, I had my ups and downs, but now I end up finding you. I have a good real estate agent. What are some things that you can recommend that they look for in an agent to represent them as they go on this house search journey? And can you also explain to them what's the commission? Because I don't think a lot of people understand that I'm not, they don't have to pay the agent necessarily. So that payment process, as far as someone who's going to represent them and show them how to go through the necessary steps to purchase a home.
Okay. So real estate agent and commission. Okay. Mm-hmm. Last thing on the last part is I don't want anybody to get stressed or overwhelmed by the amount of money that I just dropped to buy a home, because for some reason I've never worked with a buyer that didn't come up with it. It's like when you set that goal, you start shopping, they might have about $5,000 saved, and somehow miraculously the rest just comes between me negotiating, them saving, and it just ends up all coming together. Okay. All right. So what are the good qualities in a real estate agent? How do you find one?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what that question means. All right. So I'm just going to tell you, for me, my personal, because I've worked with probably 3 different realtors over the course of buying 4 houses, renting houses. So anyway, I think the best realtor listens to you and understands what you need, and doesn't try to give you what they want to give you, but they're really trying to please the client. Like, it's about understanding, this is my client's needs, this is where they are headed, this is the type of house they want. And for me, I may not understand that immediately, but as I start working with the client, I always can gauge their financial goals. Yeah. Because I'm pretty like, okay, tell me what you want to do. Like, for me, buying a house is not just finding a home. This is like a financial goal, because this is about to do something for your money. So I talk with them about the financial goals. But the second part of that is understanding what your family goals are. So recently I worked with a couple, and they were looking for a townhouse in Germantown. And they were like, I said, they were getting ready to get married. They're mature though, but they're getting ready to get married. And I'm like, okay, so we're looking at different houses, and they're like, well, it doesn't have this, but I'll be fine. Well, I said, listen, is this your forever house? Are you ever moving? And they were like, we are never leaving this house. We're never. And I was just like, okay. Because I can read people pretty well. So after once we found a house and put a contract on it, they didn't get that first house. They got the second one. They were like, well, we're probably gonna move again. I was like, I know, because I could see, I can read them.
Right.
So for me, being a real estate agent is helping people to achieve financial goals, educating them, and then understanding what their family needs are and their future goals, and connecting everything together. So I like to teach people. Obviously, I'm an educator, and I want to work with people that are fun. I'm not trying to work with somebody that's like dry and boring, because like I have too much life and I just want like, you know,
match the energy.
yes. So all my clients are like pretty upbeat, you know, pretty fun. Most of them. I mean, you don't have to. You could be serious. I can be serious.
You can be serious.
I can be serious if you need me.
And so how are they paying you though? How are they paying you? How are you getting paid?
Oh, commission. Okay, so real estate agents work for a brokerage unless they are the broker. Okay, so I work for a brokerage, Sampson Properties. I love them. They're my third brokerage. I'm not leaving them. I love Sampson Properties. They give me every single thing that I need. Anyway, so they charge a minimum commission. Okay, so when you work with me as the seller, seller or buyer, you sign that you're going to pay the commission. However, the difference is the buyer, there's a line in the contract that states that the buyer will pay the commission that's offset by what the seller is offering. So traditionally speaking, the person selling the house pays the commission. Mm-hmm. I've never worked in any transaction where the seller didn't pay the commission. Never. The seller, I'm not saying it won't happen, but you know, it's typically the seller pays the commission. So the buyer, they will sign that in the event the seller doesn't pay, the buyer might, let's say they might pay the difference. Right. So it's typically, there is no set commission, but it's usually 2.5 or 3%. So let's say my brokerage says minimum 2.5%. So let's say I did come into a situation recently where a seller was only offering 2%. And my buyer had money saved, and he was like, "I'm going to pay this because you're worth it." Like he was fine. He knew he would pay the half percent for me. But I tell people that up front. But that's it. That out of all the houses that we saw, probably out of, I don't know, 80 houses that I sent him, one seller offered 2% instead of 2.5. Right. So yeah, so that's the way the contract is written. It was set up that way years ago, and that's something that has not changed. Is that the seller? There's no rule. There is no rule. I have to tell you guys that legally, but that is the way the market is, or the contract is written. Yeah.
Got you. So now we're in the buying process of everything. So we went through our long-term goals. We went through our credit history. Mm-hmm. We got a real estate agent. Now it's time for us to go through the pre-approval process, which is my favorite part. And the reason it's my favorite part because now I know exactly what I can buy, right? I can know if I can get an apartment, or I know if I can get a single family home because I know the price range for it. Talk to us a little bit about the lender process, the pre-approval process, and how that helps us with the house searching.
Okay, so when you contact me, I have 2 lenders that I work with specifically. And so I'll patch you to them. I'll give you the information. It's up to you to contact them, to ask them questions in regards to interest rate, the point buy downs, which means if your interest rate is 3% and you want it to be 2.5, you can put money towards lowering your interest rates. So all of the information that the lender has, you ask that person. I have a lot of the knowledge, and I will obviously tell you. And a lot of my clients will say, they'll call me Krystal. This is what he said. What does that mean?
Right.
Can you call him and tell him this? So okay, I got you. But the lender is going to ask you for your documents, driver's license, perhaps income tax returns, not necessarily, pay stubs, W-2s, what else? Different things, all the statements. And then you need a pre-approval letter in order for me to take you out to see houses. So that pre-approval letter is sort of like, okay, I have a loan and we can now go see houses. Most real estate agents won't take you to see houses without that letter, because without that letter, I don't know if I'm doing this just to have fun with you, which, you know, that would be nice, but that's not my job. Right. Okay, so you get one, but once you get the pre-approval letter, it doesn't mean you're approved. It's literally a pre-approval. So as we're looking at houses, in the contract that we make an offer, we put the number of days that the lender has to give you full approval, which means your loan has gone through what's called underwriting, and they have scrutinized every detail of your credit report, your documents, your work history, your life, to make sure you really can get that loan. And then I'm looking at your question, pre-approval process. Okay, so what shouldn't you do? Don't change anything on your credit during this time unless you're making it better. And do not pay off a credit card and shut it down. I did that like over 10 years ago. My credit scores dropped. I didn't know any better. Don't pay off a credit card that you've had for years, because that's there's only 5 things that make up your credit score, and one of them is length of your credit history. Yes. So don't change employment unless it's in the same field and the income has increased. But consult the lender, okay? And then if there's something on your credit that's derogatory, like collections, and you haven't paid it in years, don't touch it, because what it does is alerts. It might not even be affecting your score, but as soon as you pay it, it goes back and factors into the calculation, and then your score will drop. I have a credit repair person that I'm actually going to be doing a live with next week. But anyway, okay.
Yeah, we definitely got to hear this guy and talk to him. Yeah. We'll definitely do that. But I'm actually good because you told me about mine. Because I'm clear on mine, remember? Because you were like, oh, you don't need 800. You was like, you're already there, but you can get it with the 650. I was like, Krystal, I want the 800.
You didn't have 650. You had
I had the 800. Remember, you was like, well, you don't have to wait for that. And I was like, well, I got it now. And then you were like,
have like 780.
It was something crazy. But you was like, talk to the lender, you'll be fine.
Because there wouldn't be any difference in your interest rate.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me. It was like it wouldn't be any difference in my interest rate.
Yeah.
So that was something key there.
But you wanted to achieve it. It was your goal. So I was like, okay, I respect it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. But going back to the lender, for those that are just getting into this process for first-time buyers, should they only shop for one, or is your recommendation more than just one?
Oh my gosh, you have to. It's like, no, you got to be able to. Every time we have purchased a house or refinanced, we shop. Mm-hmm. And the magic words you get to say are, well, I applied with another lender and they told me. And then it's like, oh, really? Okay, well, let's see if we can work with you. Well, let's see if we can match that. Let's see if we can do better. But if they can't, they're going to tell you. They will say, I can't get you any better. And if they're a good lender, they will say, that's a better deal. Go with them. Like if they are good in business, and those are the type of people that I want to work with. Somebody that's genuine. Like I can't beat that. You need to go with that. So definitely, so far in my experience, credit unions and banks, if you have less than, let's say, 700, 650 credit score, 675 credit score, credit unions and banks seem to offer more of a loan amount. Definitely. But I'm just saying I'm not saying that's the rule. I'm saying that's what I have seen.
And
then you asked about inspections.
Not yet. We getting
there. We've got FHA. So FHA, you asked me about the different types of loans. FHA, that's one more people go with because they're a little more lenient. And the debt to income ratio is a little more lenient. Credit score is more lenient. You know what? We need to talk about PMI, MIP. Mm-hmm. That's what we didn't put in there. Okay. Yeah, that's important. Okay, I'm looking at your questions. FHA, so conventional they are, a lot of people use conventional loans, and they used to require 10% down, but they don't require 10%, but they're not as lenient as FHA. So your debt to income ratio has to be a little tighter. You can't have as much debt. Your credit score has to be a little higher for conventional. And sometimes when some banks that own properties, like for investors, they might say conventional loan only in the description that I read. So they won't even take somebody that's getting an FHA loan. Yeah. That's the bank's right. And then VA, that VA loan would be you, which of course, no money down.
Love it.
All right, so that's for veterans. Okay, so either you can get it or you can't. You can't work your way around getting that loan.
Definitely.
And then there's one more, which is USDA, which is actually also no money down. And that is loans that are approved only in certain zip codes that are very rural areas. So they're trying to develop that area. And so, yes, you can get, there's a website you can go to. If you Google USDA loans, you'll see that. Whoa, I'm going to slip out my chair. Okay, let me scoot back.
Please don't hurt yourself while you're over there.
Right, not on live, only after.
Not on live. That is too funny. But I'm glad that you broke that down as far as the different type of loans that are out there. Because there's some people that don't know. They don't know until they have an agent that is able to explain that to them. And it makes you understand that you get an agent, a real estate agent that understand those things and they can break them down to you. So Krystal, thank you for doing that for us. So one thing that I was taught, when you find your home, you're supposed to walk around it 7 times. It must be a family tradition for us. I don't know. But my mom did that when we got our first home as kids. We walked around it 7 times. She was able to bless it and have that house. But that's before making an offer on a home. What needs to happen during the offering process that you tell your agents that needs to be happening during that time? When they make an offer, what are some of the things that you're considering looking at the house, other things like that?
The first thing that's being considered is what type of market is it? Before you even get to that, I'm aware of what the market is doing right now. Houses are selling like hotcakes. So houses are selling in 1 to 5 days and they're getting multiple offers. So I'm going into that with that mind frame. Yeah. So I know I have to offer a price that's comparable to what the houses are selling. That's no matter what the market is. So in my database, I can pull the comps and I can see if this is a 3-bedroom house with fireplace and 2-car garage, I'm looking at how much does a 3-bedroom house with a fireplace and a garage go for. That's sold in the most recent days. We're not looking at like 2 years ago. Okay. Most recently, what did that go for? If the seller is asking for like 40,000 above that, that's ridiculous. I'm going to advise my client, this is not a fair price. We should not even consider this house. And actually I will call the agent. Is there a reason this house is $40,000 above what this house down the street sold for? So, but that's, you have to know the market. Now, with it being a seller's market currently, there's what's called bidding wars going on, and people are upping their price in order to get houses. And that's going on because interest rates are so low. And I feel like I should explain what that means. Yeah. If you buy a house right now for $300,000 versus, I got a video coming up on this. So versus, you can get the same house that's $300,000, that's $400,000 for the same mortgage amount as one that's about the same, that's $300,000, if the interest rate is 1% different. It's about the same. I have to look at my chart, but it might not be exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was 300,000 and 400,000 and a 1% difference. It might be 2%, 2.5. Difference between 2.5% and 4%. Yes, that will change your mortgage amount that much that you can almost buy the same house, $100,000, same for the same price. Wow. Are you following me?
I'm following you. Wow, that's interesting.
So that's how big interest rate is, which means you have an option of either buying a really nice house or let's say a more expensive house, better location, better school district, whatever you want to call it. Or you can stay in your interest, in your price point, and save drastically on your mortgage because the interest rates are so low. So those are your options when you're looking at different interest rates. And I forgot what the question was and why I'm touching on that.
We were just talking about just the offering process. And
offering process. Okay, so yes. So knowing what the market is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Looking at the comps, and then also the factors of what's in the house has to do with the comps and what upgrades did the owner put in the house. Because yes, if it's a 3-bedroom house down the street, but it was old, and this one is fully remodeled with granite or quartz countertops, stainless steel appliance, new light fixtures all over, obviously that one is going to go for more. So,
right.
So you do look at those things. And then when you make the offer, this part is important also for your finances. You have to put down what's called an earnest money deposit. And that is showing the seller that you're sincere in your intention in purchasing this house. So you put down a deposit amount, usually for $200,000 to $400,000 is at least $2,000. That's different from new construction. If you're buying new construction, they're going to require you to put down a much higher lump sum. That's a different.
And that money, to make it clear, that money is going to go towards closing, correct?
Correct. It goes towards your down payment.
So it goes towards your down payment. Okay.
Towards your down payment. Mm-hmm.
Got you.
And so yeah, so you make the offer, and then the next part, if we're done with this part, would be going through the inspections and appraisal.
We wanted to talk about the inspection part because that's so important. I remember my first time I did a basic one. And then I end up running into some problems later on. We're not going to get into that. We can talk about that on your podcast when you have it.
Yes.
Some issues. So what is your recommendation when you're talking to your clients on home inspection and how important that is before you go ahead and purchase a home?
Oh my gosh. You have to get the general inspection, the structural and maintenance, HVAC, electrical, all of that. That's a must, absolute must. Based on what you experienced recently, I'm not going to say that I push my clients to get further inspections, but I discuss with them the potential of what could happen. And some people will get the full inspections. So there's different types of inspections. There's chimney, there's structural, radon, mold, and wood destroying, which is termite, but it's called wood destroying pest inspection. So there's 5 different inspections. I think I got them all. And I will tell my buyer it's up to them. I definitely always, if you have a chimney, yes, especially if it's an older house, and you have to get the structural. Now, the only time that I would say, I won't even tell them to waive it. I will say, this is a strategy. We have used that strategy in order to get a property because right now it's a seller's market.
Yeah.
So the last house, one of the clients I'm working with now, he actually decided to go with new construction, but we put an offer in on the house and we waived the inspection. Someone else got it because they also waived the inspection and they waived something else. I can't remember what it was. Oh, so you have an option of waiving the inspection, but telling the seller if you don't like what you saw, you will walk away. That person said, even if I don't like it, I'm going to buy the house.
Got you.
And that's something that I would advise my buyer, tread lightly.
Yeah,
I'm not going to tell you not to do it. If you're comfortable with when I sold the house last year, the buyer bought the house, no inspection, none. They didn't care.
So I noticed when a lot of people do that, they either know someone who can fix up a home really well for them. They have those resources. So to them, it's like, I'm not worried about it. So you do have to understand like the resources that you have versus what you don't. Like if you know you're coming in as a first time buyer, you don't really know a plumber, you don't know all these other things. You want to make sure everything works because you are investing in something. You don't want nothing to break down within the first 5 or 10 years. So you're going to make sure you do your due diligence and make sure everything works versus someone who's just like, all right, I'm going to flip this, turn it, and then double my money. You know?
are absolutely right because the person that bought it was a contractor.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're good to go. Even talking about the repairs, right? So I want them to understand that the repairs necessarily aren't on them. Sometimes it can vary. So we can talk about the repair or credit process when it comes down to the home inspection.
I was just about to say, okay, so when you get the inspection report back, it's very detailed. And I also have inspectors I can connect you with, so that you're going to get a detailed inspection report. It will have photographs of everything that was inspected, from inside the attic, the electrical units, HVAC system. I mean, every single thing. And then the inspector puts detailed notes on what issues were found in the house. And they even flag things that they think are really serious and they need attention. I forget the terminology that's used, is escaping me. But you and I will review the inspection report. I usually kind of interpret it for you. And then you will decide which things you want to ask the seller to repair. We put that in a report. I submit it to the seller's agent. Then that agent and the seller review it and get back with me and tell me what they're willing to repair. And at that point, if you're not satisfied, you can walk away. You get your earnest money deposit back. So it's really, I mean, the legal way the system has been orchestrated it's been set up that way because of so many lawsuits. But it protects you as the buyer, and it also protects the seller.
Definitely, yeah. Because I had my share. But even with the inspection process, we got through that. Now we're about to close. So now we're sitting in this room. We're ready to sign some paperwork. What's something that's involved with that? Someone who's never been in there. I know I had my experience, but a first time buyer, what can they expect going into that room for closing?
And the process for closing is very simple. You just, because by the time you get the closing, so the day before closing, there's something called a title company. The title company is the company that does all the research on the property and make sure there are no liens on the property. Mm-hmm. So a lien means that there is a debt against the house that stops you from buying it. For example, let's say we were going to sell our house and we had the roof repaired and we never paid the person who did the roof work, and they went to the courts and sued us. That's a lien against this property. And then we try to sell it. Well, the title company is going to research and find out, no, they owe money. They have to pay this before they sell the property. Definitely. So it could be a tax lien. It could be that type of lien. There's different types of liens that you could have on the property. But the title company, they do the research. They handle everything for the closing. They're sort of like they are the processor. They process everything. And so the bank, they even work with the lender, the mortgage lender, the bank, both real estate agents who are handling all this transaction on your behalf as the buyer. So the title company will notify you how much money you need to wire from your bank the day or 2 days or 3 days before you close on that property. Okay. So you'll know how much money. You don't bring money to the table. There's some exceptions. They usually say bring your checkbook just in case. Just in case could mean $5. It could mean a little more. Like my last client, I think they had to write a check for like $100. But all the money is paid beforehand. You go into closing with your cute little mask on, and then you sign a stack of documents, which include agreements, legal terminology, and the title company explains every single document to you. I am there, but I'm more there just to make sure there's nothing that goes amiss at the last second. But you sign. It used to be that before the pandemic, the seller and buyer would sign in the same room. Sometimes, like with your last closing, it happened that way. But with my last ones, we haven't been in the room with the seller on any of my transactions. The appointments are at separate times. So you sit down and you just basically are signing that you agree to purchase this house. You agree to pay it back. You sign to get your deed. It's like a, I don't know, 100 and something page document. It's long. It's a lot. It's a whole bunch of different documents, but they're all combined into one. Everything is explained to you. You've already paid your money. You get the information from the banks showing how much you owe for your loan, and you get your keys.
Definitely.
And the house is yours.
All yours. It's all yours. Make sure you move into it ASAP. Don't be like me and wait some weeks.
No, you're actually supposed to get your keys and then go over and paint and take over boxes, unpack the closets. That's how I move now. That's not how I used to move.
Right.
I'd have toothbrushes in my side, in my
I know, that's right. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go through that process with them from beginning all the way to the end so they could close. And if they have any questions, obviously they can contact us and hit us up. But like we talked about, I would like for this to be like a little series and we talk about different things. Like we can touch on HOA, the different type of those, because that's important too. A lot of people don't know about different HOA fees and other little hidden fees that are in there that go towards that mortgage they're gonna have to pay. But I know that you're doing a 30-day challenge, and you kind of told me a little bit about it, but I want to tell people about it. So if you can tell us a little bit about your 30-day challenge that you're doing and see if we can get involved.
Oh, okay. So I wear a couple of different hats, as you do. One is real estate, which we've spent 1 hour talking about, maybe. Okay. I said, how long is this? You said,
I said 45 minutes, but I said you like to talk too, so it could be an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I said it.
Okay. So if you want to check out, this is the part where I know you were going to ask me to tell everybody where to find you, but I'm about to do that on my own. Okay. So go ahead and ask me. Go ahead.
Where can they find you? What's social media?
I'm glad you asked. All right. So if you're looking for me via real estate, I'm on Instagram at Krystal Spears Real Estate. I think my name's up here on the screen. Krystal Spears Real Estate. I'm on Instagram. I am on Facebook, KS Mastering Real Estate. But I'm going to change it to Krystal Spears Real Estate. Okay. But my second company that I have launched, or I should say movement, is all about mastering discipline. And actually I have a trademark pending on mastering discipline. And I started this because discipline was always something that I struggled with for my whole life. Mm-hmm. Some people are very natural at like getting up and being organized and starting their day. But I've always had some intentional issues, ADD. I've struggled with fear and anxiety and all sorts of different things that have, like, even though I've been successful in a lot of areas, I never felt like I was operating and being fully who I could be. So I had what started this was I had some other companies that I ran. I had a children's workshop company and I ran it for 5 years and I made money, but I was always disorganized. Okay. I was all over the place. I was so disheveled, not functioning well. And when I decided to go back into real estate, which is the thing I always wanted to do, I was like, I'm not running my company like that. And I didn't know how, because I didn't know how to be disciplined. If you don't know how to be disciplined, you don't know how, you just don't know. So 2 years ago, I just started that hashtag mastering discipline. And I was like, I'm going to do it this time. And it has not been easy. It's been a struggle, but I have learned so much. And so I share on my platform with people like the steps to becoming disciplined, what they need to do first, because I'm very different 2 years in. I have a morning routine. Following goals the way I want to follow. I'm so much more organized. I work out almost every day. I had never done that my whole entire adult life and wanted to do it for like 20 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but I talk to people on my Instagram who struggle with it because it's a real, genuine struggle. Paying bills on time, financially, that can be a struggle for a lot of people. Getting up, working out, eating healthy, like all of those things don't come naturally for a lot of people. So January, I launched the decluttering challenge because, believe it or not, the first step to becoming disciplined is getting junk out of your house, cleaning up every single room, closet, drawer, nook and cranny. I'm talking cabinet, pantry, storage, basement. Every single thing, everything. The room that I'm in right now is the last room in my house that I have to declutter. The whole house is done. From the storage to the basement. What'd you say?
It don't look like there's anything in there. So
that's why y'all filming on this side. If I turn it around, it's a different story. But yeah, so we're going through 10 steps to 10 baby steps to becoming disciplined in 2021. And step 1 is decluttering your personal space. And so, yeah, I made a lot of videos on Instagram, like how I declutter my space before and after. And I talk to people about negative self-talk, because it's like a number one killer that stops you from accomplishing your goals. You hearing these thoughts that you can't. That person's doing it, but you can't. You're not as good as that person. They bought a house, but you're not going to do it. They can lose weight. They can work out. They can save money. It's not who you are. That voice will tell you that's not who you are. But you have to like turn that around. You got to start evaluating those thoughts. So I'm going through a whole thing on my Instagram teaching people basically how to turn that negative thinking around. And it starts with decluttering your house, because that's not it's a hard thing to do for a lot of people, but it doesn't involve trying to figure out what's going on up here. So we figuring it out, but we're doing it through decluttering. And then February, we're continuing to declutter. We're getting organized, and then we're going to start outlining what our goals are for the year in baby steps.
Baby steps. I love it. I love that challenge. Tell people how they can, I guess, find you on that. Find that challenge. If
you go to my Instagram, I love Krystal Spears. How can you not? Oh. So go to I love Krystal Spears, and I have a Mastering Discipline page also on Facebook. At my website, krystalspears.com. But if you go to my social media, you'll find definitely I love Krystal Spears on Instagram. That's where the entire challenge is. You can talk to other people who are following me. I mean, I started off with like 60-some followers in December. I think I'm at 900 something. So yeah, it's been growing. It's been good. I love the people that talk to me, because like we just connect, like we're relating. This is a struggle. Being disciplined is not easy for some people.
People that are going through the same thing, to help each other get through it. And I want people to remember that. It's not something that you can do on your own. I mean, you can, but it's easier when you get together with some people that are going through the same struggle you're going through. So that way you guys can, coach each other, motivate each other, push each other through those difficult situations. So I'm glad that you're doing it. I want to help you in any way I possibly can. And like I said, our next move is getting this VA and start looking at homes. So,
oh my gosh.
So I want to encourage people out there, if you are looking for a home, if you are a first-time buyer, make sure you reach out to Krystal Spears. I left all her information. If you need her information, just reach out to me. I'll make sure that you guys connect. And if perhaps it doesn't work out, we'll find someone else for you. It doesn't matter. But we want you guys to get into purchasing a home. We want to get you guys into purchasing a home, and make sure you take the steps for your family, your kids later on down the road. So Krystal, thank you so much for joining me today on the Nene Show and giving us all your knowledge and everything that you have. And I thank you so much. And like I said, we're going to make this a series, girl, and we're going to be at it. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. But you have a wonderful night. Kiss the babies for me. I got to get them on the show. I know that they have some articles, a magazine that they have going out. So I want to make sure I get them on the show and show that our kids are out here doing some wonderful things. So we'll connect that. We'll make that happen.
Okay.
All right, girl. You have a good night.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Hey, guys, that was Krystal Spears. I hope you learned a lot from the First Time Buyer one-on-one course. Of course, if you have any other questions, make sure you reach out to me, and I'll make sure I connect you guys with her. For sure. So Nene hydration, we're in here. It's called value time. We've all done it. So it's not something that is just one person in particular. We have all shown up late to an event. But have you considered what it represents when we show up late? Like, think about it. Take yourself out the equation. All right. Someone has planned an event, birthday party, a gathering, whatever it may be. And you just decide, I'll just come to the event whenever I want to. We are saying that we don't value the time someone has because they're waiting on us. That's some of the things that we're thinking about, or that person is thinking about, because what if they have something starting at 8:00, but they need you there? It delays the process. So we don't know what people do with their time. So we cannot assume that it won't be a problem if we arrive late. There's things that we can get back, right? We can get our money back. We can get our energy back. We can get activities back. But one thing that we can't get back is time. Time is a valuable commodity. Common courtesy things that we can do, even if you are going to show up late, because it's inevitable. Hit them with a text, give them a call, let them know, hey, this is my ETA. I'll be there shortly. That's some of the things that we could do. So as we move into this year of 2021, being, we're more socially involved, let's make sure we consider, we value and respect other people's time, because we know that we will want that in return. So that's just something to consider. I pray that you guys have a wonderful day, obviously a wonderful week, and I will be back on the 15th. I might be a little chocolate than what I am now, because I'll be coming back from Puerto Rico, but I want to make sure you guys enjoy your week. Make sure you inspire someone, empower, and love on people. And don't forget to follow the Underground Rail Instagram page. It's the _Underground Rail. You can follow us on Instagram. And that show is going to kick off February 22nd. Next week is open mic night. So if you know anybody who is an aspiring artist who wants to get out here and speak poetry, sing, rap, whatever it may be, whatever their God-given ability is, make sure they hit me up. And I can't wait for open mic night. You guys have a wonderful night. And God bless. Wow.